It's good day to brew, baby. What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Millsy, back from Hometown Commander, back for another episode of Millsy Brews, the show where I take my first pass at the commander in front of us on a budget on my quest to outbrew the magic room. You know the motto, baby. It's APP, always be brewing, and that's what we're back to do today. That deck list is going to be down in the description for you below. So I'd really appreciate if you could interact with the video, like, comment, subscribe. Consider checking out those links in the description. I'd appreciate it. But today, we're continuing through our Avatar content. We're talking about a new commander for the Shrine archetype in Hei Bai Forest Guardian. A 4-mana legend who is a 5-color commander because of his activated ability. So whenever Hei Bai enters, we're going to reveal cards from the top until we get a Shrine, and we're going to put that card on the battlefield, then shuffle. Big note, the rest of those cards will stay in exile. And then for Wooburg and tap, for every legendary enchantment we control, we make a 1/1 spirit with this token can't block or be blocked by non-spirit creatures. Of course, the Shrines are a very interesting archetype. Having a bunch of legendary enchantments, their effects get better in number for the more Shrines you have. And I think this is a really interesting spin on a new commander. Digging for that Shrine when it comes in provides us options to blink or copy them if we want to. And then making those spirits that, hopefully we can grow or augment somehow is very interesting as well. Yesterday on the channel, we talked about Goshintai, which is still my choice for a Shrines commander. I kind of talked about the list I'm going to be testing out. But today, I think we're going to kind of get to have a little bit more fun with Hei Bai, specifically in blinking and copying him and other effects like that to dig for our Shrines and get them down on the battlefield. But I want to say a quick thank you to the channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And if you're interested in seeing all of our videos just a little bit early for just $1 a month to support the channel, consider checking that out down below. As I said before, the big thing of the big thing about all the Shrines and members, they're all legendary enchantments, and they all have abilities that scale for the number of Shrines you control. The big thing I want to make sure we let go off the rip is that Shrine is not a creature type. Shrine is an enchantment type, so we can't take advantage of any effects that care about Shrine as a creature type because it's not. But we get to still take advantage of a lot of other things, and you'll notice that all of our Shrines were kind of printed in cycles. So before you see 3 of the 6 Goshintais that were printed in Kamagan Neon Dynasty. Now, for the 5 of them, besides Goshintai of Life's Origin, who's the commander we talked about yesterday, their abilities trigger on the end steps. On the end step, you can pay 1. If you do, you do something equal to basically the number of Shrines you control. So Ancient Ward is going to deal out damage. Boundless Figure puts some counters on a creature we control. Hidden Cruelty can destroy a creature with toughness X or less, versus the number of Shrines we control. Lost Wisdom mills a player, cards equal to the number of Shrines, and then Shared Purpose makes some spirits. Now, Goshintai of Life's Origin, like we said, is another commander option where whenever it or another Shrine, non-token Shrine comes in, you make a Shrine token. So it actually allows you to make more Shrines that are just individual 1/1s, and it lets you bring enchantments back from the battlefield, or graveyard to the battlefield. Now, the Honed-ins, which were really printed at our original time in Kamigawa, all trigger on our upkeep. So at the start of our upkeep, again, we're going to do something based on the Shrines. Cleansing Fire is life. Infinite Rage is damage. Life's Web is those spirit tokens. Night's Reach forces the player to discard, and Seeing Winds draws us cards. And then here in Avatar, we have 5 new ones, and each of these have abilities that happen when they enter. So here we see Northern Air Temple. When it enters, each opponent loses X and we gain X, where X is the number of Shrines we control. And then they all have an ability anytime another Shrine comes in. So this one says whenever another Shrine comes in, everybody loses 1 and we gain 1. These are really nice because not only do they do something really important when they come in, but they also have a static effect. The other really nice thing about them having an effect that when they come in is that we can utilize cards that double up in enters abilities to benefit us if we really wanted to do that. Now, it's not as good as it would normally be. We only have 5 of these Shrines in Hei Bai that really have like big enter the battlefield abilities, but it's important to note that you could go into this more if you want to, and we'll kind of talk about that more in a second. The Sanctum cycle from M21 all triggered at the start of our pre-combat main phase, so our first main phase. Sanctum Evolved, the only exception. It still goes off on your upkeep, but it goes off on your upkeep to search your library or graveyard for a Shrine of your choice and bring it in. And then it has a big, huge ability that if a Shrine's triggered ability we control would trigger while we have 6 or more Shrines, it goes off an additional time, which is massive. That's something that can really take over a game for us. Calm Waters draws us cards. Fruitful Harvest adds us mana of any one color. Stone Fangs, just like Northern Air Temple, lets everybody lose X and we gain X, and then those are the main ones there. And then here's a couple more of the new ones. Southern Air Temple comes in, puts X counters on each creature we control, where X is the number of shrines. And then whenever the shrine comes in, put a counter on everything. And then Spirit Oasis, come in, draw a card for each shrine you control. And whenever another shrine comes in, draw a card. I really like the new kind of temples. I think they're really interesting. They have pretty interesting effects, and they're going to help us out a ton here. And they're nice additions alongside the other shrines that we have. But again, Hei Bai has this great enter the battlefield ability, so I think we want to take advantage of it. Things like Displacer Kitten can just blink a non-land permanent whenever we cast a spell. This is really big, not only just for Hei Bai, but for those 5 new temples, right? That get something on enter, allowing you to get more value. Eustola says, being our end step, we exile a creature we control and return it to the battlefield under our owner's control. And then if we get a second end step, this is a very interesting ability. We're not going to pay this off too much more, other than basically getting 2 free blinks of Hei Bai to go get shrines, right? Yenna lets us, for 2 mana, choose an enchantment we control that doesn't have the same name as another permanent we control and make a copy of it, except the copy isn't legendary. This is a huge deal, because obviously you can have 2 copies of a permanent as long as both of them aren't legendary and have the same name. So this is huge because we can copy any of our shrines at once with Yenna, right? Because it can't have the same name as another one. And there are certain shrines in this deck, like Stone Fangs, or Northern Air Temple, the Black New Temple, or any of our red ones that deal out damage. Having 2 of them is a huge deal. Cloud Shift and Ephemerate can both blink Hei Bai and some of our other creatures in our deck if we wanted them to. But again, Hei Bai is the best, right, for that search. But then Flicker of Fate's actually very interesting. Flicker of Fate's one of the only few blink spells that actually lets you blink an enchantment. So that's very interesting too, right? Letting us blink the new temples as well, which is kind of cool. You're going to see a lot more blink for creature sources than you will for things like Displacer Kitten or Flicker of Fate that actually let you bounce the enchantment. So it's important to know that the spread does exist, and we still want to look for them and use them when we can. But again, just like a lot of shrine decks, we're going to really care about enchantments since we have a lot of them. Enduring Vitality lets all of our creatures tap for mana and color. This is really useful with Goshintai of Life's Origin, if we see that, or any of our shrines that makes creature tokens. Now they can tap for mana. Sanctum Weaver is a pretty classic Enchantment Matters card, tapping for mana of any 1 color, where X is the number of enchantments we control. We, of course, have one of the other more popular shrine commanders in Sisay. Sisay gets +1/+1 for each color among other legendary permanents we control. And then for Wooburg, she can go search for a permanent with mana value less than her power. Her power at max would be 7. Note that the highest mana value of any of our shrines is 5. So as long as Sisay can get to 5, you can go get Sanctum of All or any of our other key shrines and start really valuing, really putting value on your board state. Yuna's going to give all of our enchantment creatures trample, lifelink, and ward 2 during our turn. Nice for those Goshintais that are creatures or anything else we make that's an enchantment creature, but adds the key ability that at the beginning of our end step, we can return an enchantment from our graveyard back to the battlefield with a finality counter. So if somebody removes one of our key ones, we can get it back. Zur lets us pay 2 mana to turn our enchantments into creatures, where the power type is equal to its mana value. This is a very interesting card, but in a lot of ways it does let us turn some of our enchantments online to be nice threats for us. Dollmaker's Shop might look odd, but the real reason we're playing this one is Porcelain Gallery. You remember that 4 shrines, and even the shrine tokens you can make, the shrine isn't a creature type, so we can't really profit from things like Coat of Arms or Banner of Kinship like you could with others. Other tribes. But Porcelain Gallery turns all your creatures into XXs, where X is the number of creatures you control. This makes all those shrines or spirit tokens we make very beneficial, right? Making them bigger and better as the game goes on. You'll pick up a few toys with Dollmaker Shop if you want to, but Porcelain Gallery is really what we care about on that side. Frost Cliff Seed can hand out that Trample and Haste. Insidious Roots, again, lets them tap for mana. Leyline of the Guild Pact is going to give all of our lands every basic land type, allowing them to tap for anything we want them to do and really help us fix our colors. It can also start on the battlefield if it's in our opening hand. Paradox Haze is going to double all of our upkeeps. This is a huge deal for those honed-ins, right? Getting up double abilities there. Prismatic Omen, having all of our lands be every basic land type, is again just really going to help with fixing so that we're not as worried about getting all of our colors if we need them. It's going to be helpful for Hei Bai's ability, right? Sisay's ability. You could start to see where this is going to be really beneficial in those senses. One of my favorite piece of tech in my Goshintai list that I've been running for a while, and I try to run in some of my enchantment decks, is Solitary Confinement. This is a card that says, we skip our draw step, we have Shroud, but we prevent all damage to be dealt to you. And for that ability to protect ourselves, we just have to pitch a card at every one of our upkeeps. This is pretty easy to do if we can find some of these blue shrines that draw us cards, getting enough cards into our hand to offset the card we have to pitch, and we're really going to protect ourselves and force our opponents to get rid of Solitary Confinement. Shroud's going to stop us from being targeted by spells. Preventing all damage is going to stop us from really being attacked in combat. This is just going to be a really nice way to keep us alive. Sterling Grove, of course, can protect our enchantments, but really it's used for its bottom ability. Pay one to go get any enchantment you want and put it on top. Seed that next draw and get that key shrine or key value piece you want. And then War Leader's Call, dealing damage whenever creatures come in, is really nice. Not only for something like Goshintai, if you of the Life's Origin, if you could find that, but hey, Hei Bai, it's making the spirits can damage your opponents as they come in. But I've said it before on the show, and I'll say it again: no deck's ever complete. This is my first shot at Hei Bai, and I think going into testing, we want to see how much of these Impact Tremors style abilities are going to become really important. If we have a lot of things that are making, if we're seeing these shrines that make these tokens all the time, maybe you look into Impact Tremors and Perforos, right, as more ways to deal damage. I love the idea of things like Search for Glory that can just go get any shrine you want. I think we're going to have a pretty good time with Blinking Hei Bai, to be 100% honest. I think it's going to be really beneficial for us. So I'd almost like the idea of considering things like Conjurer's Closet or Teleportation Circle to continue to do more of that. But I think it's just going to come down to your preference and how you want to run it. I worry slightly about exiling too much other good stuff off of it every time you look for one, but I think you kind of need to find what you like the best and what, risks you're willing to take. But let's do what we love to do on the channel the most and get into our playtest. Remember, the goal of playtest on our channel is not to find magical Christmas land. It's not just to show off all our best plays, but to get in some gameplay scenarios and kind of understand what hands we're looking to keep and how we're going to set these things on up. Here we've got a 3-lander with a Arcane Signet, a Rampant Growth, and a Fey Barrow Elder. And then we have a Swan Song there for some protection. Note that I am playing Path of Ancestry. You'll note that obviously Path of Ancestry has to deal with typing, and our commander is a bear spirit. We're not playing any bears or spirits in the deck. But the important thing to remember is that is a 5-color fixing, a 5-color land, and that's always welcome when you're trying to play a deck like this. So here we got a couple choices. We could go for something like Faber Elder and try to set up for next turn. You could slam Hei Bai and go digging. I think there's probably a lot of choices. I think for this, let's try Hei Bai and see what happens. So we're going to flip till we hit a shrine. And remember, we exile everything we find that's not a shrine. So there you go. Unfortunately, we lose a few, but we do get Lost Wisdom. So we do have the shrine train started. 4 mana there. I guess get the Elder and, hold up the Swan Song and the offer you can't refuse. Now, tapping for 3 here on the Elder, so this is 7 mana total. Now I guess we could start really trying to get these shrines in, right? Now we have something like Cryptolith, right, which can help our creatures tap for mana. That's 1, 2, 3, 6 left. Love the idea of the Life Swap at this point, getting more of those, creatures in. So I think I'll probably do that. And, I guess if we do the Ancient Wars, this is tapping for more mana. Let's think about this. If I 2-2 here, these 3 could go Shintai. And now this is tapping for 4. Yeah, just 1 off the Life Swab, right? Same thing with Tranquilite, crack the Rampant Growth. Again, just try to get the most value in we can. And then we would have had to go Shintai's Trigger, but I don't think we had any mana left on end step. Here, get the Life Swab in. And then what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we'd have to tap Hei Bai to 2. I say we could do Hei Bai to get 1, 2, 3 spirits. If I do Life's Origin, Still got a bunch of mana, and I'm gonna get a bunch of those spirits next turn, which is my thought. You can pay. We could pay for both of these, dealing out some damage. 1, 2, 3, 4 damage off the Ancient Waters, and we could mill some with the Lost Wisdom. Now this turn, right, you're making 1, 2, 3, 4 spirits off the Honed In. And again, the only real thing we're missing here is just card draw, right? We really haven't seen any of it. But, I mean, you could crack Hei Bai here. Make, 4 spirits. Now you've got a bunch of ways to tap for mana. We've got some counterplay to protect ourselves. Goshen Tai can still knock some damage out. We still have the Tranquilite, which can help us tap things down, tap creatures down if need be, to stop our opponents from doing too good of things. Here, right, getting more spirits, put the Stone Fangs in. Stone Fangs is going to start draining our opponents. We could always tap, Hei Bai again. All we would love is some way to buff our creatures, but we have, I think the only downside of this play is we have so much mana, we just didn't draw any cards. And so that's something where if we can't consistently find our Enchantress pieces or ways to blink Hei Bai to find the shrines that do draw cards, maybe it's something we look into. But don't just take one playtest, right? Play through these hands, figure out is your deck functioning the way you want it to. 5-lander here with Shattered Heights, Sanctum of Shattered Heights. So you could pay 1, pitch a land or a shrine to deal X to a creature or planeswalker X number of shrines, and then your Rock. Your Rock's going to double up any permanent entering triggering a ability is going to go off twice. That is a huge deal, especially for something like Hei Bai, right? So I might as well get in Shattered there. I want to get your Rock down first because then, right, Hei Bai can go off twice. So I'll play the Goshen Tai of Lost Wisdom first. And then, so that's not what to do. Sorry. Then I'm going to play Hei Bai. So it's going to go off twice. So I'm going to reveal till I hit a Shrine twice. 1. Ooh, unfortunately, a lot of good things going into exile there. But now you've got your draw. You've got a draw Shrine there, and you've got, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 shrines. We can attack with Uraka if we want to and get a toy. But again, the nice part about this for Porcelain Gallery is now we can turn it online and turn all our creatures into real threats. But the Sanctum of Calm Waters is going to go off on our precoming phase 1, 2, 3, 4 shrines. We're going to draw 4 and then pitch 1. This is where this is going to start getting really beneficial, right? Drawing us some good cards. 1, 2, 3, 7. That leaves me with what? 2 left? Arcane Signet. I was going to say Life's Web's the one that makes all those spirits. And I think we'd have 1 left on the Lost Wisdom if we want to for 5. But now my thought is we come to our turn. Make, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spirits. So now, flipping on that Porcelain Gallery certainly feels like not a bad way to do it. Sorry. Sanctum of Calm Waters goes off. That's 5. We can pretty easily pitch a land. We see the new Crescent Island Temple. Whenever it comes in, you make a monk with prowess for each shrine we control. Whenever a shrine comes in, you make another one with prowess. I love the idea of the Frostcliff Siege just giving them haste. I think I'm 1 mana off turning the Porcelain Gallery on. So do we do something else instead? If I play the Vitality, I was gonna say if I play the Vitality, then I can crack this to turn on the Porcelain Gallery. I can tap the Lost Wisdom to do that. Does that make more sense? Well, probably because I'm just getting more and more next turn, right? I could still tap Hei Bai or Yurok to play that. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think I have to, right? Just because it can leverage. Well, let's see. If I do this, and then I play the siege. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I could 6, and then I could get the porcelain gallery online. Right. All these would be tapped down, but all these would be hasty with a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They are 10 9s with trample and haste, and there you go. Then we could get them and get them going. And then this turn again, you draw more of the call mortars, and we're probably just in great shape. So that goes to show you that, yeah, we were in a little bit of a later turn there, but hey, we found a way to maneuver it, right? Here, just a 2-lander with the Sanctum, but we can try to move it into Vitality. There's Zur, there's a way to blink, but there's at least one Shrine. It's not the sexiest hand we've ever seen, but it should work out for us getting into the Sanctum Weaver. There's Aang's Journey. For 2 mana, you can go get a basic land, but if it's kicked, you search your basic land and a shrine and put them in your hand. So kind of an interesting spell. I like the Vitality. Turn 4 here. We can go right into the Hei Bai, but we do have 5 mana. I'd almost rather go into your Rock. Not only because it just gives us an extra mana, but it allows us to tap for more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Go for Hei Bai, I think makes the most sense here. Start digging for a shrine. There we go. And remember, it goes off twice because we have Yurok. And this isn't a bad one to hit. So Kyoshi Island Plaza comes in and searches up to X basic lands, where X is the number of shrines we control, which is 2. So we get to go digging for lands, and we will take it because we happily need them, right? This is one of the nice big new shrines that I think is going to be really useful to play more basics in your deck. All right, so now, I mean, you could go for Displacer Kit and start playing these shrines and blinking Hei Bai if you want to. Right. 4 there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana totals my count. Honed in on enter would get me another basic land right off the plaza. So use these 4 for the honed in. It gets me a basic land. It does come in tap, but that's okay. It at least starts to get us more mana. Now we've got 5 that Sanctum Weaver's tapping for us. We've got 8 total here. My thought is almost, do we crack the journey, go get Sanctum of All, and then just play the Stone Temple? Or play the Southern Air Temple? That's my thought. Go get Sanctum of All is probably still remains one of our best shrines. Get the Air Temple in. We get to go get a basic off of Kyoshi, which we'll do. And then this comes in, putting X counters on each creature where X number of shrines we control. Which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So there we go. Right. Getting a bunch more. I actually just realized it'll be 8 because of Yurok doubling it up. I actually just realized that would double up this plazas, wouldn't it have? Ah, okay. Well, hey, you live and you learn. And I think we've got plenty of value there now. Now we have absolutely no mana issues. We would have had, 3, 4 more basic lands, and I think we would have been in really good shape. Let's do one more playtest here. This is a 4-lander with that Leyline of the Guild pack. We love it. That's going to allow them to start tapping for anything. The important thing to note is that gives them all basic land types, meaning they just inherently have those properties. So get the Dryad in here, which does the same thing, but also lets us play an additional land. So now we're just trying to get some big manas down. Let's play Hei Bai there. Let's see what we get into. I didn't mean to grab that. All right, so definitely stinks to lose those, but we got some nice stuff off the top in the honed in there. We could cloud shift Hei Bai if we want to, but I think we're good there. That's where we see the generous gift. I like the idea of Yenna. Somebody had to have pitched 1. And do we just cloud shift Hei Bai just to see what we get ourselves into? always do that. Seeing Winds. Again, we love it. It's going to give us more on our upkeep. So start our upkeep, we're going to draw a card for each shrine we control, which is 2, and then we draw for turn. And then now, I mean, Yenna could copy an enchantment, right, if we want to. Kyoshi could go get us for a bunch of lands. We could do Displacer Kitten. And then copy one of them. What does Kyoshi get me? It gets me 3 lands, which doesn't actually feel terrible in this moment. Do come and tap, but they're really going to help us on a future turn, especially when we're digging for all these cards. And then was what, 3 mana left? I almost love the idea of just making a copy of the Seeing Winds just to dig even quicker. That's going to go get us another basic land, right, because of Kyoshi's ability. And now as we come to our next turn, we're drawing 4 twice. And at this rate, right, we hit a lot of lands, but I think this is where we're going to start having a great time, right, really digging in and getting some more key pieces. We really haven't seen any shrines, which is kind of surprising for us having, what, 22 shrines? But it just goes to show you that, like, sometimes you're just going to get those bad RNG hands where you don't always see them. 12 mana here. Not that we can't target the Winds again. Displacer Kitten. So the problem with Ephemerate is if I bounce the Hei Bai, I can't target with Displacer Kitten's ability because it's on cast, right? So we'll play the War Leader's Call. Bounce Hei Bai. We need to start getting into some other shrines quickly, right? That was on cast, so this will then come in. I mean, our board's not looking bad. You could do a Yenna again. Sorry, that would go get you a basic land off of the Plaza. So we're just going to start having, most of our basic lands out of the deck. And then here, I think I would, if I tap Hei Bai, I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4 spirits, which would be some more damage. 4 mana left. I almost feel like I would just crack them for the spirits, deal some damage, go the Hidden Cruelty on your end step to destroy a key creature. And then, I mean, truthfully, I just feel like I wish we drew less lands. This would be such a fun, turn had we drawn a couple more shrines to play down. But again, that's the RNG of it that we can't always simulate the best. But I'd love to know, what do you think of Hei Bai down in the comments section below? Really interesting new commander. Again, this list is playing a lot more basics because of that new Plaza Shrine that goes and gets the basics. You want to play enough of them, to have them around. Tried to make this one a little bit more budget, and I think I did a good job at it. I think it still shows it, but I'd love to know what you think, and I will catch you on the next one.